DIY.
DIYers, over the last week, there was an interview with Billboard and 50 Cent, the legendary 50 Cent, and they were asking him many different questions about his successful run in touring. And I found something really interesting when they started to get to the conversation about advice that he has given to Drake post his battle with Kendrick Lamar. I titled this video Bizarre Advice, and I feel like after we break this down, maybe you may see it from that perspective as well. With that said, the article starts off with this headline, and this is by Michael Sopranara. He says 50 Cent talks Las Vegas residency, Drake's next move, and reflects on '07 sales battle with Kanye West. I have a few parts here highlighted, but, definitely let's show some love first to 50, because I feel like 50 is, he is that businessman, right? Like, he is that businessman. The things that he's been able to do, not just through music, but through television, through having a successful run. I don't think people recognize how challenging it is for someone like a 50 Cent who had the star power, still has a star power, but who had the attention of the music industry the way that he did, to go through the things that he went through. And I do suggest that you read his books and learn more about his perspective, because he's very transparent about these things. How challenging it is for somebody who's had that astronomical success to find new life in different industries, especially where it's competitive like TV. Then to go from there and go back and tour and make over 100 M's, that is not easy. So, of course, if you're getting advice from this guy, you might want to listen. But I want to bring your attention here to this particular part of the Billboard interview where they start asking him things about touring and then the advice he gave to Drake. So it says here, the question is, what do you think about having this discography that's been able to transcend generations? For me, I was 10 years old, this is the writer, when Get Rich or Die Trying came out. And that's like the soundtrack to our lives. To now, we got careers, jobs, money to spend. You did $100 million on your world tour last year. 50 says it's cool. You don't usually have artists that sustain themselves this long in our culture. Hip hop has a low attention span, and it's out with the old and in with the new repeatedly. There's even a point they'll create a resistance for you. You have so much consistency even when there's not a break in the material. They'll ask about your record and say, that's good, but it's not like this first one. And you don't get a second chance at a first impression. That's what the artist community does to the artists that are already in pocket. They want to see you go up, but they want to see you come down, because if you don't, how am I going to have my chance to go up? And he very slickly gets into the Drake conversation. He says, Drake is in that position right now. They're trying to resist the music because he put out some things that are dope. I say a lot of things on social, and they get upset because they look and go, I'm automatically supposed to be on Kendrick's side because of my association with Dre. And I love Kendrick, but I'll say it to you. I didn't see where what Drake did was whack at any point. They giving Drake the, oh, you whack, you finished. I'm like, nah, come on. That's the system trying to make some sort of resistance, and it's from the consistency. When you win consecutively, that part of the hip hop demographic wants you out of there. I started to feel the resistance for the Curtis album. How you feeling about that one? I mean, who am I to debate anything that this gazillionaire 50 Cent has to say about this, because he has seen this and he has been on the front line and he's experienced a lot. But I'm a little bit suspicious about, especially when you've read the 50 Laws of Power, when you know that 50 Cent himself is an avid reader of the 48 Laws of Power. So the 50 Laws of Power is when he co-wrote it with Robert Greene, the original writer of 48 Laws. I look at certain things and I can never look at it with the lens of like, yeah, just take it at face value. I'm always thinking, what is the business strategy behind this? But I will say this. I don't agree that obviously, all of us who are seeing this transition happen, that we're in support of seeing the things that Kendrick had to say versus what Drake had to say. There's a lot of moments here where he just was out of touch. And Kendrick highlighted that. There was a lot of things where he showed issues with his character, issues with the way that he's maneuvered through this culture, especially as someone from Canada who has maneuvered within American black culture. There's been things that he just did. he just showed us multiple examples of things that we were like, you're not like one of us. So I don't think it's about him winning. I think there are some people who are like, good riddance. I'm getting tired of hearing you on the damn billboard all the time. I'm pretty sure that exists, but I do think there's a lot of segments. There's a very silent majority who just saw these things and felt like it wasn't in alignment with the hip hop or even the mainstream rap they came to love. Next question, it says, I was going to touch on that with you and Kanye West facing off in 2007. What do you remember about that time? Because it represented two different sectors of rap. If you weren't around for this, there was a point in time where 50 Cent and Kanye West had a very public, it wasn't a real feud, but they had a competition of sorts of who could sell more records. And in this point in time, at that point in time, Kanye ended up outselling. I think 50 Cent even said something along the lines of, if Kanye outsells me, I'll retire. So the stakes were high. They were on the cover of Rolling Stone. They were on 106 in Park. And they really played this up. And they actually both had really high sales that week. 50 Cent goes on to expand on this. And he says, we made the highest sales week for hip hop culture. Doing that and being competitive. People that were participating as fans were buying more than one copy of it because of the competitive side of it. When you look at it, we had to stand together to face off, but we never had an issue. That was his break album, which was the Graduation album, that broke him in. If I was trying to combat that, I would have went on tour with them. I wouldn't have had all of the material with the albums that worked ahead of Graduation to draw from, while he had one record. Excuse me, he said, I would have had all of the material with the albums that worked ahead of it, so talk about his prior albums of Graduation to draw from, while he had one record. The interviewer says that's some Art Award type shit right there, 50. It represented two sides of rap back in 2007, with 50 Cent being the street dude making hit records and Kanye representing the high fashion with a different production, looking for stadium status. 50 says anything that was less aggressive. Look at The College Dropout or the themes of his records versus Get Rich or Die Trying, The Massacre, and Curtis. Those albums were a lot more aggressive, but they gave him all the trophies. They would rather hip-hop be what he was at that point. He was like, F that. Beyonce's supposed to have that. I'm like, yo, they be tweaking. But I don't think anybody's been through more or has more reasons to fall apart than Kanye. I agree. The success of his project comes and his mom passes away. So what you've been praying for, the gift is a curse. You lose that, and he had real reasons to effing be out of it. He did the right thing. He went to work. Here's where we get to the advice that 50 had for Drake. There's a reason I read through all of that. I wanted to give you context as it eases its way into this. So the question was, when you linked up with Drake, did you have advice for him as far as his next move? Obviously, some months ago, and on multiple occasions, you saw 50 actually connect with Drake in Toronto. He says, I was telling him, it's not him. I'm listening on the outskirts. It's not you. Don't let yourself think that for a second. On some real shit, I said, they said you lost. Okay, but what did you lose? Everything. What exactly did he lose? If he got like 300 something million on his last tour, you didn't lose a mother effing thing, man. Come on, man. Perk up, man. You got money, man. Reputation? Who cares about reputation? Come on, man. You got it, man. No, stop moping around, man. Come on, man. Not like us. It's not everywhere. Kinda. I'm sorry. I'm getting off script. 50 says, you didn't lose a mother effing thing, man. If that's the moment, you keep your creative energy in the right place and keep creating. That's bizarre. I'm explaining to you in a second why I feel like that's bizarre. If you slow down because you feel what the F, the resistance will make you feel like your material isn't good. That part I could see. For an artist who takes a huge L, if they get to a place where, say, Drake went away, he may come back to his craft and second guess it. If he was actually writing this shit. What do you got to second guess? I think my decision skills are really bad right now. I don't know if I can pick the right ghostwriter for this next song. I'm all messed up, man. I'm all messed up. I don't know what to hit anymore. Did you write one or did you? I don't know, man. I should have just kept on letting you guys write. If you slow down because you feel what the F, the resistance will make you feel like your material isn't good. Then you got to figure out how to keep pushing, how to keep creating. Because what it feels like because that's what it feels like to you at the moment. That shit was good for hip hop. It made both of them create quality material faster. The interviewer says, I feel like people cared about lyrics again. I agree. 50 said it was about the lyrics, but that shit was on a different level. The effing Good Kid, Mad City car in the video, that shit was a mystery. Everything was tied to something. I was like, what the F? I mean, more things happened than the wrong minivan being used in the Family Matters, but that's a really weird. 50's so damn strategic, bro. I'm sorry. It's like when I used to watch the Lakers and Phil Jackson was the coach, I was like, they losing on purpose right now. This is all, I felt like I was connecting dots like the Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm like, no, he doing something right now. Everything wasn't tied to something. I was like, what the F, right? That wasn't in hip hop before that. Before that battle, I did not remember this was the car from this and that was this. Everything that was a part of it was some other shit. It was almost encrypted. The interviewer then says, then they're making some crazy allegations against each other. Do you think you lose once you get on the defensive? I thought Drake lost his footing a little bit there. Shout out to Michael for pushing a little bit, and especially with Eminem. It's not an easy interview. 50 said, when you say something that isn't true and a person wants to defend themselves, they encourage the public likes that you're vulnerable. Because it matters to you that it wasn't true and they jump on you. That's like Meek Mill. When they say Meek is fruity or gay, with Puff in the situation now. That was just see, 50 does this. I'm not laughing at the whole, fruity or gay. I'm laughing at 50 does this where in the middle of his book, he'll be talking about one thing and he'll be like, you got to be really wise with your money. Don't be stupid like Floyd Mayweather. Where did that come from? I can't tell you how many times that happened in the audiobook where I was like, wait. Did you just say that? When they say Meek is fruity or gay with Puff in the situation now, it's how he responds to it that makes people talk about it more. It gets bigger and bigger and it turns into a thing going on out there. You don't hear one thing about French Montana, and French was in that circle and around that a lot. 50 know what he doing. This is why I can't trust any of this shit. 50 know what he doing. What French came out of nowhere? I know it's for the contrast in his example, but French got it straight too. He said he was over there a lot. Do with that what you want. And not one thing. And Meek's shit is all over the place. It's the way they respond to what people say about them publicly. They feel like that bothers you. If you say anything, then they start harping on that harder. They want the fight to continue. Let's go back to this part though. There was something I found really interesting about the advice he gave, because like I said, 50 is an avid reader of the 48 Laws of Power. And I feel like there's one guy, especially when you think about this battle. Can you believe this battle is almost 6 months ago when it happened? Still more stories are coming up that this is not like a documentary dropped 2 years later. No, it happened 6 months ago. Like that happened in March. Anyways, this particular advice had me scratching my head a little bit about the advice is given to Drake and why I feel like it's bizarre. He says, if that's the moment, you keep your creative energy in the right place and you keep creating. If you slow down because you feel what the F, the resistance will make you feel like your material isn't good. Then you got to figure out how to keep pushing, how to keep creating. I wonder now, after reading that, if 50 Cent is the reason why Drake won't go sat his ass down somewhere.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth and I'm gonna tell it.
Why he won't go buy some ayahuasca shakes, some ayahuasca powder, whatever, from Amazon. He makes me wonder. Why does it make me wonder? Because then I remember some of these laws of power and I'm confused. Law 16 has my interest right now. Use abstinence to increase respect and honor. Drake has not done that once since he slipped and failed in aisle 4. Just an imaginary aisle. He has not stopped. He has been trying to be in front of people's faces. I don't think there's an issue with continuing to create because this is what you do. This is part of your 9 to 5. But the constant visibility, the constant explaining, the constant being in front of you to show how unbothered I am, that is all strategic. Very strategic. But this law says use absence to increase respect and honor. It feels like Kendrick's the only one that's been listening to that one. Once you become well known, don't wear out your welcome. The more you're seen and heard from, the more you cheapen your brand. Law 14 is another interesting one. It says, pose as a friend, work as a spy. I'm not saying 50's a spy. I for sure in the hell ain't saying Curtis Jackson, look, don't take this video the wrong way, brother. I'm saying you a good businessman. Look, don't put me on your Instagram. All I'm saying is this law says be friendly, sympathetic, and interested to get people to reveal their deepest thoughts and feelings. When you know your opponent's secrets, you can predict his behavior and control him. Can I put some foil on top of my head for a second to act like it's a hat? You ever gave any kind of thought to the idea that 50 might be the leak? I started thinking about that when I saw the G-Unit spinner chain in the Family Matters video. 50's obviously worked with both Drake and Kendrick. He's put Kendrick on his TV show. They've done collaborations. They've known each other for years. Obviously, there's a connection between Dre, who was the biggest co-sign for Kendrick in his career. There's that connection there. There's vested interest in both sides. But it seems like the person that's also been listening to Law 17, keep others in suspended terror, is the guy that don't say shit except for when he wants to. And then he don't say it in a way that's predictable. Everybody's telling, this last week, everybody's been talking to Kendrick and saying, why the hell would you go to the Harper's Bazaar to come say something, and not acknowledging he's only the 5th male artist or 5th male on that cover, period. It is a way to establish your own legacy and not follow the steps of other people, but they just ignore that. Meanwhile, Law 17, it keeps others in suspended terror, cultivates an air of unpredictability. It throws others off balance and unnerve them with random, unpredictable acts of kindness. You'll gain the upper hand. It seems like that's what's happening. And if you need further evidence, good googly mo, just look at the nastiness that is occurring. I'm telling y'all, if you want to figure out what's going on with the Drakes of the world, listen to the people that are the closest to them. Listen to the people that support them. I don't know how anybody in their right mind, matter of fact, I know you're not in your right mind. I know people are just being contrarians because it's cool, but you know damn well Drake lost this damn battle. Why? This not even a conversation. 6 months later, I've never seen anybody win and talk like this. It's getting bad out here. It's getting really bad out here. Matter of fact, I try to avoid any topics about academics on this channel. But this one was one that I just felt like I could not ignore because I feel like it's sick. It's sick work, and it really shows you the mind state that some people in. Shout out to its_Aja who tagged me in this. He said, Curtis, what do you think? He said, I think this nigga had one too many bottles of Happy Dad. I didn't even know they came in bottles. I thought it was just cans. He said, what the F? Here, academics is misinterpreting Mother Ice Sober lyrics, just like his Zaddy Drake, and making SA jokes about Dot being inspired to rap about being abused. Worst crash out I've seen in a while. I will issue a warning to those of you that are triggered by people like this who make fun of, because I think this is more than just him making fun of lyrics that he's misinterpreting, where Kendrick is being very vulnerable and talking about his mother who was involved in something of SA, and her interpretation of his relationship with his cousin and assumptions that were made. This misread is more than just his favoritism of Drake. This is insulting to those who have gone through those type of assaults. But this is the way that he talks on his stream, and it's his platform to do that with, but history won't be kind on folks like this. Check this out.
My boy said he got fingered in and he started rapping. I like that. You know why? That's vulnerability. You know all these rappers be like, yo, 50 stories like, yeah, I got shot 9 times. I couldn't move. Like, Yo, I got shot through my mouth. Kanye, like, my mouth was wired shut. I just came from an accident. Don't know wire. Don't know it. Kendrick's story is, yo, that nigga fingered my butt. I ain't know how to tell nobody, so the only time I could really talk about it is when the beat was popping and I had a rap in my mind.
Anything for the chat, right? Anything for the chat, right? That's entertainment for somebody out here. Anything for the feedback that you get from the chat for talking crazy. Insane.
Slick. I like that. I think that's fire. I think that's fire, bro. That's a fire-ass rap story. I hate hearing the story. So when did you start rapping? Yeah, I killed 5 niggas. I did like a 3-year. No, I killed 5 niggas. I did a 10-year bid. Now I'm ready to rap.
You know, something I've always had an issue with, and it's not just an act, but there's a lot of people who get in this space who have a very voyeuristic, almost video game-like experience with the real lives of other people, with the unaliving of other people. Their perspective seems so detached because, of course, they're not involved in the culture. They're just someone whose name is attached to the culture. The way they talk about these people and their personal issues and the way that they take lines and they bastardize them and flip them, it feels so detached. And you have to ask yourself, why would you, as somebody who loves this culture, be attached to the viewpoints of somebody so detached? This is just a video game to him. Kendrick is just an avatar to him. This essay, this assault, is just content. Insane.
Heard that too many times. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I killed 3 niggas in the hood, but I beat it self-defense, so I had to just rap my story. We ain't hear no story like this, nigga. We ain't hear no story like this. Yeah, I was getting finger popped by my brother. Like, he was just like up in there, in and out type shit. Keep it real. Shit, the way he was doing it, like, I was speechless. The only time I could really talk was when I got in the booth. Because, like, he was in my booth. Pause. Okay. I fuck with it. I like
anything
that story.
For the clicks, huh?
I like it. I started rhyming. Coping mechanism to lift up myself. Shit.
And this is where it's an issue when you have people too stupid to dissect lyrics to be the voice of breaking down lyrics. I don't think that you have to write lyrics to understand lyrics, but I do think that it takes a certain level of intelligence to understand lyrics at their highest level, especially when there's other devices that some of these motherfuckers might have failed at when they were in English class. So having these people be the ones that get to decipher that and then if he brings his brother into this, when the conversation was about a cousin, like, this is so reckless that I look at this and I back away and I'm like, all the accusations that have been thrown at him, this can't be good. Felt the same way about the top 5 situations. All the accusations thrown at him. And you're now crashing out for the internet, for the clout, for the clicks, for the podcast numbers. Time will not be kind to you. I see somebody in here that said we need to cancel. No. They're canceling themselves. I don't look at somebody like this and think that they feel that they're on the rise. I look at somebody like this, and to me, I look at them and say, they're holding on to whatever they can. I know that he just did a video where he's talking about the money that he made off of the battle. Hell, all of us made money off of the battle content-wise, but he was able to buy some really luxurious cars. Shout out to him for that. But I do feel like there's a perspective sometimes we get missed on with this. Could it be that somebody like this, and not just speaking about him, but somebody in that position sees this as the largest any story could ever be in the space that you're in, and this is the ceiling of the amount of money that you can make? Could it be that that money is not really a large amount to him or as large as he thought it would be? Could he be seeing a ceiling for the platform that he has? I don't know, but I feel like people act like this out of desperation. What they're desperate about, none of my business. All I can do is speculate. But when I look at this, I'm just like, happiness don't do this. Winning don't make you make shit like this. It don't make you talk about people's lives like this. Insanity.
Nigga finger popping him was uplifting him. I ain't gonna hold you. Talk to his lawyer. Oh, you should snitch on that nigga. Yeah, that's my type of nigga. Kendrick, my type of nigga. I wouldn't be talking to the lawyer. I talk to the police, the DA. He going to jail. What are you talking to your lawyer? Told me not to be so hard on myself. Pause.
Mind you, this is 6 months after. 6 months. I don't even want to get to the end of this. You guys can go watch that. I don't watch the guy. this is really interesting. A word from one of the Kendrick Lamar fan pages called Word from K. Dot. He explains this as these are the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It has been 6 months since Drake took the L, but Academics is still on stage 2, anger. This is honestly disgusting. Is this what y'all tune in 8 hours a day for? That's part of the party that has to die, in my opinion. But as disgusting as he is, as disgusting as that was, he's not the only one who is on their own PR run. You know, I don't want to give one person more credit than the other, but at least some of these things that Maul has said hasn't been as disgusting as that. I mean, how could you really judge? If it's disgusting, it's disgusting. But when I look at that, I'm just like, I think if anything, I view a lot of the Maul's opinions in this as just being a bit delusional. Here's another one of those, though. Maul from Rory and Maul, popular podcast, says him and Drake laughed about the Kendrick Lamar other vaginal option lyric during the beef. What is the other vaginal option? Why do we talk about that bar? They're talking about this 6 months later. The video came out 3 months ago for Not Like Us at this time. Just want to make sure I note that. But listen to what he said on his podcast, the Relentless Diaries podcast.
I didn't hear none of the records.
You never heard anything beforehand?
Nah.
Because that is a narrative.
Because that was a narrative that like you knew before, and Drake was kind of feeding you stuff and like.
Nah, me and Drake talk about. We obviously talked about the situation in the battle, but we don't really talk about this shit as much as people think. Like we talk about regular shit. Mm-hmm. When we do speak, it's always about shit that has just regular, just random shit. It wasn't as much talking about the beef. Like we laugh at certain shit. Like when we heard certain songs, like I text him like shit and just start laughing.
What'd you laugh at?
It was some shit that Kendrick said. It was a bar, and I had texted him the bar, and we just started laughing.
Was it about the kid, the 11-year-old?
No, that wasn't. That was just ridiculous. But it was I think it was when. I think it was the other vaginal option.
Yeah. What OVO stand for? Worst bar in the whole beat.
You think that was the worst bar in the whole beat?
All I can think of is like a friend of yours that's seen you get your ass kicked by somebody in some dusty ass Air Force Ones, and it was like, I don't care, you got your ass whooped. And nigga still has some dusty ass Air Force Ones. Hey, he did kind of have, wait a minute, my eyes swollen. He did have some Air Force Ones that was dusty as hell. My shoes better, huh? It sure is. Dusty ass. I don't know what they see in him. It gives me that kind of energy. The friend that's trying to find the positive in all that is negative. That's the only thing I get from that. What are we talking about? That's the bar that you bring up? That's the bar you want to bring up? I'm not done with that one. Hold on.
Yeah. Absolutely. What is the other vaginal option? What is that? Because where I'm from, I know exactly what that is, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, would you call the butt the other vaginal option?
Yeah. Well, it's not vaginal. But it's
that's what I was going to say.
The other option.
Right?
What is the other vaginal option? Why we don't talk about that bar?
The urethra.
Why as a woman, why you ain't never talk about that bar?
What's the small hole?
I don't know. That's a really good point.
Exactly.
Yeah,
See?
Wait, what'd you say?
What's the small hole that y'all got where you pee out of?
I'm pretty sure that's.
So the conversation dives into some crazy shit after that, but let's talk about it, Maul. Let's talk about some lines that were very questionable during this whole. So we want to get into this. We want to get into this, right? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about some questionable lines during that Drake versus Kendrick. Since we're rehashing these things, shout out to HBK Boogie who posted this. I thought this was really, really interesting. Remember the Drake on the Hearts Part 6? If I was effing young girls, I'd promise I'd have been arrested. Duh. Okay, I added the duh. Weird lyric, bro. How about this one? Always rapping like you're about to get the slaves freed. Anybody? Anybody got that one? Always rapping like you're about to get the slaves freed. That was from Family Matters. Can we talk about that one since y'all got all of these double entendres for OVO? Can we talk about that one? How about this one? You write about F the big 3. It's only a big D, and there's video proof. Awkward. And then it ends it off with a Kendrick line here that says, the audience is not dumb. No, we're not. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. How much we overlook these dumbass lyrics since we want to. See, this is when I know somebody has been hurt. That's hurt. That's hurt. That's hurt. It don't help that you seen your man get dusted in that battle. It don't help that you seen the song that was the final nail of the coffin is continuing to make its rounds. Oh, you thought it was over with. How many NBA fans are in here? Did you see this? Miami Heat, very popular basketball team. They use Kendrick Lamar's DNA for the Miami Heat soundtrack for their new intro. I don't know if you saw this. I'll play a little bit of it because I don't want to get flagged. Oh, that's nice. Oh, check them out. Tyler Hero. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Okay, well, that had to be where it stopped, right? No, for some reason, it's Kendrick Lamar DNA from another damn album is finding its way to the Utah Jazz soundtrack for their intro. What? Got a cinematic version? It's nasty. And of course the Lakers had to show some love. Why not? Why would the Lakers not show some love? What they use? They use DNA too? They got a new version. This winning streak is pissing these folks off, and they are pulling for whatever they can get. They are trying to get whatever they can. Remember Drake decided he wanted to put out that 100 gigs of content, and he wanted to show how smoothed up he used to be with another man's wife and mother of his child, that being A$AP Rocky and Rihanna. Remember Drake just randomly threw that out there because, all of these guys have very weird ways that they maneuver. Well, this just happened before we started this live stream. Rihanna reacts or speaks on Kendrick Lamar headlining the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. Here's what she had to say. Y'all better stop playing with the year of truth.
What do you think of Kendrick doing the Super Bowl?
Go. Go. Let's go. What is there to doubt on that?
No, it's going to be amazing. I'm just asking you what you think because you've done a Super Bowl before. You have special insight.
It's a diamond on a ring finger, honey. It's meant to be.
I'm with you.
Kendrick Lamar. He deserves it. I cannot wait to see it. Kendrick, thank you.
What do you think of Kendrick doing the Super Bowl?
They big mad, and that ain't the only ones that's mad. Damn it, it's a lot of folks out here mad. It's too many folks to even get to, especially after they misread the Harper Bazaar interview. They're trying to find whatever talking points they can. They're talking about, Kendrick doesn't show up for other artists, and what about the people that he brought up for the pop out? What does he did for them after that? What kind of... My thing is, why is there so much angst for somebody who ain't said nothing to y'all? Why is there so much angst for somebody who ain't said nothing to y'all? You guys got a Harper interview. You got a Harper where he sits down and talks about life, spirituality, peace. He has an opportunity to dogpile on the guy Drake. And then he asks SZA, whatever question you have next, is it mean? Now, obviously, there may be a little bit of trollery in that, I guess. But I look at this and I'm like, what's got y'all so pressed that you're looking for whatever way that you can to discredit the guy? Then they get to talking about this Messiah complex. And I'm like, I've not seen anybody out here call the guy Kendrick a Messiah. I've seen them say, thank you that you're being used as a vehicle to get some of these weirdos the fuck out of here. There are people who've been waiting for this day. There are people right now who are seeing the way that the industry is going and they're watching this shit burn down and they're like, yes. And if you just happen to be the catalyst, the person that got that first domino to start dropping, we're here for it. But you can insert any name in there. You know the thing I don't understand? But I zoom back out and I'm looking at 50 Cent giving this advice to Drake, I'm already kind of suspicious about it because who knows what 50 Cent is ultimately getting out of this. I look at this and I say, 50 Cent is a very strategic human being. He's a businessman. Let's not forget, he's a businessman. Even in music, he was a businessman. And I look at him and I say, he's going to do the thing that is not the popular thing because he's not afraid of y'all. Remember Bernie Mac, he's like, I ain't afraid of you motherfuckers. I ain't afraid of y'all. 50 Cent really is like that. He's not afraid of what the general public is going to say. But I look at 50 and I say, it is business on his end to look at somebody like a Drake. And he knows, if anybody knows the game plan to get somebody and to revive them in the public eye, I think the guy 50 Cent knows that. He's done that with actors who have been out of the good graces of the general public. He's brought actors onto his show and revived their career. So why couldn't he do it with a Drake? And how much would Drake owe somebody like a 50 Cent if he happened to be the only one, after Drake just complained about not having friends in the industry at an R&B party night? How much would he owe 50 Cent if 50 Cent was the only one that publicly showed love to him, stood behind him, and then privately gave him advice that helped him get to another place that somehow was familiar before this battle even happened? That's called leverage, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying that, 50 may not be genuine about the advice he's given, but I'm saying 50 Cent understands the power of leverage. The guy fucking wrote 50 Laws of Power with Robert Greene. He understands this. But I also think that he has some business interests in this. And then if you, they always talk about this in business, that if you buy low, you're going to get the opportunity to sell high. And I feel like right now, this advice that is being given, he's giving the opportunity for him to get a whole lot of stocks of Drake so that no matter where it returns, say Drake never gets back to that same place that he was at, it'll get to a place where it will still be a worthwhile investment for somebody like a 50 Cent who really doesn't really have any skin in music right now in terms of making new music or trying to get relevance. He doesn't need, he's a legend in this. He has a residency that's going to make millions and millions upon millions. But I feel like he's doing what a lot of other people may not financially be in a position to do. I think he's doing what a lot of his peers probably don't have the respect of a Drake right now, or don't have the trust of a Drake right now. 50 Cent is doing business right now. So that's why I think this advice is very, very bizarre. But I do think it's strategic, though. I don't know. DIYers, those are my thoughts on that. You let me know how you feeling.
DIY.